Hello and welcome to CIS 9467 midterm assignment for the creation of an advanced Excel dashboard to track the New York City restaurants inspection dashboard. My name is Carlos Scuderi and I will be taking you throughout the presentation. First, I would like to introduce the viewer to the type of data that we'll be working with. So the New York City has about 40,000 different restaurants, which has led to the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene to perform yearly unannounced audits to test for food quality. The results are then uploaded in the New York City Open Database on a daily basis and measure different type of information, including the restaurant name, the location, both at the city as well as zip code level and also borough, the type of food being served, and finally the type of violation that has been identified. The type of information that is measured is actually pretty extensive and results in about 370,000 rows divided by 15 columns. That leads at about 5.5 million fields of structured data. This report again is uploaded into the City of New York Open Data Database, and it can be downloaded by clicking on the following link. Now, what is our research question? So our research question is how we can help the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene to better target its resources to improve food quality and how they can actually achieve it. We'll be looking at variables such as the type of offenses, the type of violations being done, the type of food that it's involved, what type of causes might be creating such an event, and then looking from a geographical perspective, the type of distribution that those food violations have in the 5 boroughs. This results in the following dashboard, and we'll go in a little bit more detail later, but contains graphical representations as well as slicers and a small legend for the end user. But before I go into much detail, I will first go into the raw data. Here's a view of the data dump from the New York City Open Database and contains about 375,000 data rows. Now, here I only would like to highlight the offense score. This is the main output variable that we will be working with throughout the analysis. Now, working with this amount of data has been proven very complicated. It has resulted in long computing times when we are working with pivot tables on pivot charts, as well as creating some problems with filtering using slicers. So what I have done is created a data subset that contains far fewer rows. It still provides comparable results when it comes to the overall analysis. So the total amount of rows now is about 5,000. Here we have offense score, as well as I have filtered the type of variables that I would like the user of the dashboard to have handy. Now, talking a little bit more in detail of the offense score. So this is basically a continuous variable from 0 to a value that can exceed 28. And basically there is a correlation between the value here and the overall grading scales that we as consumers can see posted at the entrance of the restaurants. Starting from A or a grade A, that is any result that will go all the way to 13. Then we'll move to a B grade that it will be between 14 to the 27, and then C grade will be between or anything actually higher than 28. And here we have used conditional formatting to help the user get a first impression where each one of the subsequent restaurants lie. Now, moving to the pivot table and pivot chart for analyzing the food type. So here we have the overall pivot chart. We have kept the legend for the different grades, so we do not actually miss the information here, or we lose track of the reference. We have calculated both the total in the pivot table as well as the sum of the total and then the average value. Now, the reason why we are tracking two different results of the same variable, it's because it could be possible that they might be far more in quantity of a type of food in this particular case, which would eventually lead to a higher cumulative result. However, that not might necessarily tell the whole story, right? So, for example, American may be a little bit higher than coffee, and in actually coffee can be higher than Caribbean. But again, if one measures the average, it could be that actually even though Caribbean is lower from a total absolute value, the average might be higher. So that might be an indication that perhaps we should look at this value or Caribbean as well as coffee, for example. Now, the violation code works similarly. So we have done the same calculations and we have used the same conditional formatting, but now we have used a different type of chart. Here we have used a bar chart with the overall calculation of absolute values, meaning the total score. Now, for restaurants, again, a similar calculation. We have, in this case, a top 10 value, organized in descending order as any other of the rest of the pivot tables, total score and total average. And then we have here the different restaurants in a combined chart, which contains not only columns that measure the total score but also a line chart that measures the average. Finally, we have done an analysis on the different New York City boroughs, having all the boroughs here listed, again organized in descending order, and then calculating the different offense score, leading to a final pie chart. Now I have used a pie chart in this particular case because in certain circumstances it's easier for the viewer to look at the data on a pie chart, which is also combined with a natural expectation of the New York City boroughs, which then could be easier for the end users and for management to understand first. Finally, moving to the dashboard. So here's the resulting dashboard, and as I was saying that before, we have the different charts here, starting with the pie chart for the borough, then the bar chart for the food violation type, and specifically for food violation I have here a legend too, so the user and management can quickly relate back and understand the type of issues being involved. And then at the bottom side we have column charts, combined column charts with line charts, both for the different restaurants and the different offense score by food type. On the right side, I have added the different slicers, the Excel slicers that can help us actually filter the different data and help us basically see different views of the same data to make decisions as we go. So for example, if the management will be looking at this dashboard and, for example, they want to decide where they should send the inspectors located in Manhattan, maybe they will come here to Manhattan, and then once they have selected Manhattan, they can see, for example, over here the different restaurants, starting with Starbucks, which has, for example, an average non-compliance value or offense score of about 11, and then all the different ones. Now over here we'll have the food violation type for Manhattan, started with 10F. So if we come here, 10F is more related to the improper construction of different surfaces that may get in contact with food that can then lead to a complication when somebody's trying to clean that area, so it doesn't impact the overall quality of the food. then we can actually unfilter here. And another potential use case could be that the New York City Department of Health Management would like to have a meeting, for example, with Starbucks, right? So they want to improve the overall food quality over here. So they may come to Starbucks and say, okay, so this is the overall geographical distribution of your shops. And we can see here that most of the shops are located in Manhattan, so that might lead to engaging earlier the Manhattan inspectors. But also, by looking at the type of food violation, then we have an initial agenda that we can have with the Starbucks management, so we can have a review of the major complaints and then try to work with them to have an overall improvement of their stores and trying to develop a mandate so they can improve the overall status within a mutually agreed timeline. We can then come back, or the end user can come back and actually can click in a different area as well, for example, American food too, right? And the different type of shops that sell American food and the type again of violations that might be involved. So overall, that's the dashboard for the health inspections. We hope this can help New York City to improve the overall quality of the food. I hope that you have enjoyed it. Thank you very much.